National security guarantee for Ukraine?
What?
Would a mineral deal include a security guarantee for Ukraine?
Well, it'll be, Europe is going to make sure that nothing happens. I don't think it's going to be much of a problem. I think once we settle, there's going to be no more war in Ukraine, and you're not going to have it. It's not going to be a very big problem. That's going to be the least of it.
The Greek media reporting that the U.S. has agreed to shut down a military base in Greece that's been a logistical hub for NATO.
That who shut down?
That the U.S. has agreed to shut it down at the request of Turkey and Russia. Is that all true?
Marco, do you have anything to say?
Yes. Sure, that's a no. That's a no.
Mr. President,
Is it a no? You say?
It's a no, sir.
It's not a correct story.
Thank you.
Mr. President, how do you react to people in Europe who say that you are abandoning Ukraine and that you are going to sacrifice the security of Ukraine by making a deal with Vladimir Putin?
Now, we're helping Ukraine like nobody's ever helped Ukraine before. And I can say this, if I didn't become president, Ukraine would right now still be at a level where there would be no even thinking about a peace. And it was, it's a sad thing that this happened. This would have never happened, this war, if I were president. Zero chance. And it has happened. So my function is to get you out of the war, get them out of the war, let them live. It's a bloody war, it's a horrible war. Thousands of people are being killed a week. And I would say Russia, maybe 700,000 people. I think Ukraine probably a similar number. And that's not talking about the towns and the cities that have been blown up. That's talking about soldiers. This has been a horrible, bloody mess. And we're going to get it solved. We got to get it solved. And you know, we're not talking about America's soldiers. Soldiers from this country. We're talking about Russia and Ukraine. But on a humanitarian basis, we have to get this very, very bloody, savage problem solved. And I will say this also, it could lead to World War III if it's not solved. You know, there'll be a point at which it's not going to stop at those two countries. Already there's such involvement from other countries. And it could really lead to a very big war, World War III. And we're not going to let that happen either.
Would you support the idea to send European troops in Ukraine to back the ceasefire?
European troops may go into Ukraine as peacemakers. So when the agreement is done, they can watch that everything is followed properly. I don't think that's going to be a problem. And a lot of the European countries, I think, I don't want to speak for France, but I know that the presidents talked about doing that also. I think that'll be a very good day when we can go in as peacekeepers as opposed to what's going on right now with everybody being killed.
Will they have U.S. backing, those troops going into Ukraine? Will they have U.S. backing from U.S. troops?
Well, we're going to have a backing of some kind, and obviously the European countries are going to be involved, and I don't think you're going to need much backing. I think that's not going to be a problem. Once an agreement is signed, Russia's going to get back to its business, and Ukraine and Europe are going to get back to their business. I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Mr. President, could you meet with President Zelensky soon?
What?
Could you meet with President Zelensky soon?
I will be meeting with President Zelensky. In fact, he may come in this week or next week to sign the agreement, and which would be nice. I'd love to meet him. Would meet at the Oval Office. So the agreement's being worked on now. They're very close to a final deal. It'll be a deal with rare earths and various other things, and he would like to come, and I understand it, here to sign it, and that would be great with me. I think they then have to get it approved by their council or whoever might approve it, but I'm sure that will happen. Yeah, at some point I'll be meeting with President Putin also, yes. I don't know when we speak. We're trying to get this thing worked out, but yeah, at some point I'll be meeting with President Putin too.
Monsieur Macron, s'il vous plaît, est-ce que vous pouvez me dire quelques mots en français?
I can say a few words in French.
Yes, please.
No, le président l'a dit, je pense que c'est un moment important. C'est un moment important de la discussion. On veut bâtir la paix en Ukraine, et le bilan qui a été rappelé, une réalité, il y a d'1 million de morts et de blessés depuis le début de ce conflit et de cette guerre d'agression. Notre volonté, c'est que cette paix dure, parce que nous avons déjà eu un cessez-le-feu et une paix qui n'a pas été respectée. C'était les accords de Minsk, 1 puis 2. Et donc le corps de cette discussion, c'est de s'assurer d'abord qu'il y ait un cessez-le-feu, ensuite que les Ukrainiens soient impliqués. Je pense que ce que vient de dire à l'instant le président Trump est très important, c'est-à-dire qu'il va rencontrer rapidement le président Zelensky pour signer cet accord sur les minerais critiques et les terres rares, et que c'est aussi un moyen d'avoir une implication américaine forte. Les Européens sont prêts à prendre leur charge sous des formes diverses de soutien à l'armée ukrainienne, de présence y compris pour s'assurer que la paix soit durable. Et l'implication dans la durée des États-Unis d'Amérique à travers cet accord est une bonne chose. Et donc tout est encore à construire. Et je ne veux pas préempter les discussions. Mais nous partageons le même objectif. Et ce qu'on a discuté ce matin pendant 1 heure après la visioconférence ensemble, et ce qu'on va continuer de travailler, sont pour moi des bonnes avancées. Et l'annonce de...
Est-ce que l'intégrité territoriale de l'Ukraine est encore un objectif crédible?
Spoken about this just a moment ago. This is exactly what we want to do. We want to build peace with Ukraine. As President Trump mentioned, there are already 1 million dead and wounded in Ukraine since the war began. We had a ceasefire in the past that was not respected. This was under the Minsk Agreements 1 and 2. President Trump, as he said, will be meeting with President Zelensky to sign a deal on rare earths. And we are pleased to see this very strong American involvement. Europe, of course, also stands ready to support Ukraine in various ways, supporting its military. And we don't want to preempt any sort of discussions that are currently underway, but we do share the same objective of building this lasting peace.
I just want to tell you a little story. So we were at the Eiffel Tower having dinner with your wonderful wife and with my wonderful wife, and we came out and he started speaking the French deal. And we didn't have an interpreter, and he was going on and on and on, and I was just nodding, yes, yes, yes. And he really sold me out, because I got back the next day and I read the papers. I said, that's not what we said. He's a smart customer, I will tell you that. Sure.
How do you
Exactly what we agreed.
Mr. Brennan called Zelensky a dictator. Would you use the same words regarding Putin?
I don't use those words lightly. I think that we're going to see how it all works out. Let's see what happens. I think we have a chance of a really good settlement between various countries. And, you know, you're talking about Europe, and you're talking about Ukraine.